Please give a huge round of applause for Topu Newaj.
I hope you're all doing well. I'm Shah Newaj Topu. I'm currently working at BRAC IT as a CTO and advisor. I'm also founder and director of Celis Digital Platform. So thank you all for joining this workshop today. Raisul Bhai is on the other room. He's talking about something pretty similar that I'm going to talk about here, but he's in the solution space and I'm in the problem space. So the discussion that we're going to have today, before going into that, let me introduce a bit of myself. So I've been working in the industry for the last 26 years now, and I have developed software. I've been programming coding for even longer, over 30 years now. And I've developed software for many different organizations. I work mostly in European market, and some US market as well. So I'm practicing Scrum for about 16 years now. Back in 2009, I started practicing Scrum. Naresh Jain was my Scrum guru who came to Dhaka and introduced me to Scrum. And since then, I loved Scrum, and I'm a very, even right now, I'm a regular practitioner of Scrum. All my organizations that I've worked with have worked with Scrum. We developed Scrum product using Scrum as a development methodology, as a delivery model and all. And I really love Scrum, and I must say that I have absolutely failed to implement Scrum for most of the time that I have tried. So the title is a bit misleading. It says that why Scrum is failing in Bangladesh. It's basically to catch your attention. Mostly it's very anecdotal, this discussion. It's not data-driven. I don't have any data or information. It's for my experience. Why this title, basically why I failed at implementing Scrum, the story of that. So, I mean, we're having really nice discussions here, but these are something I think we should take a focus on. So, yeah, so the kind of companies that I've worked with, just to give you a context that I have some authority to talk about this, that I have worked with outsourcing service companies, so companies that develop software for foreign customers. I have also worked with local product companies who build product for local companies or build their own product and sell it to the local customers. I have also worked with local service companies who built software for the local companies, and I have also worked for startups. So I kind of have a mixture of experience from all these different organizations. So, and while going through this entire exercise over the last 25 years, I think in many cases, our project's life cycle is like this, that a typical project is that client issues a tender, we participate in the tender, and we submit a proposal with budget and timeline. Sometimes the timeline is also fixed. We cannot, because client says that this is the timeline, you have to deliver the project, you just come up with a budget. And then we have to submit a proposal, and then one of the proposal submitters wins the project. They write an SRS, and it's already with a lot of preset constraints. That's how this project starts. And this concept from the very beginning violates some of the Scrum principles. That is, the backlog should emerge out of the necessity. It's not. It comes from a TOR document that is written by some people who probably never developed software. For example, people from universities or people from business who has never developed software. They have some concept. They want, I mean, why do you need a software? There is some business that requires some automation. That is the necessity of a software. So the people who wrote this TOR, it's a terms of reference, And it comes from people who just want to tell what they want to build. That is the whole goal for writing the talk. And they really never thought of the internal complexity, and they never thought of they don't know what they want. They never thought of that. Always thought they know what they want, and that's why they want to build software. But we have seen that actually customers do not know what they want. But this kind of projects, it's very difficult because it comes with a predefined TOR, and that says what they want. So this is basically, the requirements are frozen from the beginning. That's a violation of Scrum as we speak. And then these TORs are extremely vague as they come in. And they are vague. They have obscure project complexity within them. They're not clear. There are statements, there are lines within that TOR that could, if you break it down, it becomes very complex requirements out of it when you go to implement it. For example, a TOR might say, I want a full text editor on a web page. On a web application, I want a full text editor. So my editor should be full text editor. That immediately blows out of proportion when you start implementing a full text editor into a web application instead of a standard text box. That full text editor could take months to build. Even if you use a standardized component, buy from somewhere, implementing it, the data goes inside a full text editor, has to be validated in many different ways. There are a lot of security concerns regarding that. Just by adding that one line, the entire application's complexity blows out of proportion. So they often lack details, and sometimes it is not even described in the TOR that they want a full text editor. They assume that that particular field will have a full text editor facility. That was not even written in the TOR. So when the applications start developing, they said, no, we need that field to be a full text editable. I want formatting for that particular field. And that comes later, and that completely destroys the integrity of any planning that the team, or any estimation the team ever did. So the clarity, and these companies, they're submitting this proposal, they're forced to estimate without complete information. And I mean, there's a lot of opportunity or option to misinterpret things because there is no real communication. There is no real grooming of the concept to the companies that are working with. And the product owners, they cannot have clarity. I mean, that is what you have been saying, that there needs to be clarity. The product owner needs to be able to work on the product backlog, but they can't because it is coming from a source that they really don't have control over. And it's very difficult to own such a requirement or backlog. And then there is no option of negotiation in scope. There is no option of flexibility. Everything is fixed up front, and you just have to deliver that within time. And every company, we are trying to use Scrum to deliver this kind of product, this kind of projects for our customers. That there are pre-decided budgets and timeline. There is almost no room for negotiation. I mean, in Scrum, we always say we negotiate. Okay, okay, for this first release, we drop these 2 items, and then these 2 instead. Change of priorities in the backlog. That is one of the basic assumption that you should be able to do that in Scrum. But you cannot do that here. So the budget and time are all fixed upfront. And then comes the SRS. That SRS has to be written even before starting the project. So SR is a system requirement specification document that has to be written before starting the project. That the team has to write a very detailed technical requirement specification document that should contain anything and everything, functional and non-functional requirement to the finer, like very fine granularity, so that SRS, and this is a part of the contract, you get your first payment. Don't get your first payment unless you submit your SRS to the customer. So you have to write this SRS, and how you're gonna do that? Like a project that goes on, say, for 2 years, how you're gonna write an SRS on the very first day, or very first week or month? It's almost impossible. And then that SRS gets signed off. So where is agility in that? There is no agility. This is a very non-agile project that we are doing. And then clients. So clients are, who are these clients? I always, when we discuss Scrum and Agile processes, I think we talk about very engaged people in all sides. But the reality is, my clients are not engaged. They really don't care about the product because they're working, they're employee of that company, and there's some business operation manager in that organization. He has like hundreds of things to do, and my project is just one of that. And he just wants to get the project done. He is not engaged. He doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't have time for my people, my product manager, my product owner. They just want to have their software ready because they gave you this requirement document. And there are some people, definitely they have assigned a few people to work with us, but those people are not really engaged. They are only trying to find a way so that they are not blamed when this fails. So our customers, clients, they're very, like, they're not really into this. They don't want to be part of this thing. They don't want to collaborate with us. They need, I mean, our assumption was that there will be with Scrum, the assumption was that there will be very strong customer collaboration. There will be the client will always be part of the development process. They will see regular demo. You'll not be able to bring people on a weekly or bi-weekly product demonstration. They will not be there. They'll not just come. So they're just detached observers, maybe. Like in a few weeks or months, they will come and see something. And then even more horrible thing happens when they come in and try to give us feedback. That's even more horrible. Because when they see something, their entire idea is completely changed now. When they see something. When you have presented a demo to them, they will come and say, no, this is not what I wanted. Oh no, this was a completely wrong idea. This is maybe you understood it completely wrong. And now they will start coming up with ideas and concepts and feedback that absolutely changes what you have been working on and what you have developed so far. So the development team is very scared to present anything to customer. They really don't want to talk to them. They don't want to show them anything. They just want to hide everything from them until the very last phase of the product development. Because as soon as something is shown to the customer will come and start changing things, and then the whole project is a huge mess. And there will be more and more and more work will be generated through that feedback loop. The feedback loop is not course correcting. It is not giving positive feedback. It is just a spiral of unforeseen ideas and concepts that never came out of customers' organization. So, and sometimes they're so massive, sometimes they're so big, sometimes they're so fundamentally different. Then I have seen that some of the projects goes into, like, I mean, even for political change, because the customer side, people gets changed. Somebody was the VP of that company, now that person is changed, a new guy comes in and he starts giving very different requirement. He completely says, no, this is not how we're going to build it. And as a provider, as a supplier, I'm in big trouble. So the cycle of feedback and rework, that's like massive, and that basically destroys how we want to build software. So this continuous inspection and adoption as a Scrum concept, it's a complete violation of that. And then client, they don't understand MVP at all. They have no interest in MVPs. They want a finished product. They don't like iterations. They don't want to talk about iterations. They don't want to have a smaller software, go live, and then see how the feedback is. No, they don't want that. They want a ready product, like they want to buy a car. That's how they want to have a software. That's their mindset. So this not understanding, I mean, you have to very clearly understand, these, maybe some of these problems are other part of the world as well, but in Bangladesh, these are very prevalent. This is with most of the organization. If I ask you to raise your hand that if you face this particular problem, how many of you would raise your hand? Yeah. So this completely, like not understanding MVP from a customer side and the entire concept of incremental delivery and value prioritization and value proposition as we develop the software, it goes out of the window. It does not add any value to the process that we are following. So then, like, we are having waterfall in disguise of these sprint labels. And then this fixed timeline is absurd, because you don't know how long it's going to take to build a software. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And then from the very beginning, you have like fixed timeline, and then there is no release planning, there is no MVP, there is no minimalistically agreed what can be delivered in the timeline, nothing. We just have a very static fixed timeline. There is no buffer for change. I have seen companies losing money in this kind of projects almost 95% time. Companies depend on the money they make after the release. They try to make money through support. They try to make money through annual maintenance contract. But all the projects they do, they always lose money in these projects. This is a very toxic modality of developing software, and most of the companies suffer from it. And then what we are trying to do here, on top of this already completely messed up project modality, we are trying to put Scrum on top of it. And we are taking it religiously. We have people within the organization who think Scrum is the right way to do things. We're trying to put Scrum on top of this whole thing. And then it's basically a top-down mechanism trying to make people adapt to this process that I want there to be. That is the modality of the management or the people on top. So, I mean, the sprints are like basically, I mean, I have seen a lot of projects that are sprints, but using Gantt charts. So, and then, because they find all this other tooling and other graphs and other mechanism of burn down, and they burn down charts and, you know, like all these things, they seem that there is no use. They go back to their original way of doing things before Scrum. They want their Gantt chart, they want to put things in there and like see that how it is going. That is going back to their, you know, native command and control mentality. And then all the roles are completely broken. Scrum, there is no Scrum. I have not seen a single Scrum Master in my entire life in Dhaka. Nobody, there is no Scrum Master. Because everything that you say, that has been said today, that empowerment, like being the person who takes out the impediment, all those things, that simply doesn't exist. Scrum Masters, first of all, overall, the mentality of having a Scrum Master, that is missing. And having a Scrum Master within a team, the value of that, organization is completely unable to see that. Organization cannot see that, okay, I have 7 guys and then I will put 1 guy with that team. They will just empower the team and I'm going to pay the salary of that guy. He's not coding. We are not going to pay salary for that guy. We don't need a Scrum Master. Nobody wants a Scrum Master. Nobody believes in Scrum Master. I have seen most of the companies, there are people who are team leads and we tell them, you are the Scrum Master because you probably have the whip to whip these guys up so that they work more. Yeah, and then the product owners, the only job is for them to translate requirement documents into stories. That's what they do. And I mean, the work has been so easy now because with ChatGPT you can do that very easily. Probably will not be needing you anymore. Because now you can just like take a requirement document and tell ChatGPT to write some story about it with the acceptance criteria and definition of done. It's getting pretty much easier. I think within a few years, it will all be done by them. We really don't need them anymore. So all the product owners, they have basically no ownership in the product. They just have to get the project done and they want to somehow translate. And have you seen the stories written by product owners? Why even call them stories anymore? Just tell them some tasks. Stop calling them stories because those are basically tasks. The only thing, I mean, they sometimes even call them tasks. They have stopped calling them stories. I've been seeing for some time now. There are tasks and subtasks. So the whole idea of loving the backlog and being able to happy, I really don't see that. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I also cry. I also cry all the time. Yeah, I mean, you must understand where I'm coming from. I really tried. And this is like me crying for help. Yeah, so, and then these teams that we're working with, please give me a reminder of time. So these teams, the development, they have no experience and nobody has given any training on Scrum in most of the companies. No development team got any training. We just started calling them like people joining in the company, and there are some team that had one Scrum training 5 years back, and everybody of that original team has left and people are still joining in that team and still call them a Scrum team. And somehow it is expected that they will retain that modality within the team in a way that, like, without any reinforcement, this can keep going. So there are developers, the development team, the cross-functional. That is also another part of the story, that most of the companies, we do not have cross-functional teams. That is also another story. We have segregated teams of developer, QA, project managers, BA, and all this completely segregated. Very few companies have cross-functional teams. That's also organizational modality. But then again, like these, they never had Scrum trainings. They don't know what Scrum is. I mean, they know all knows what Scrum is. A fresh graduate coming into the company, joining a team, and that team, quote unquote, says that they're a Scrum team, and then they've been talking, okay, these are the things you have to do. These are the stories. You go into Jira, you see your story, there'll be a task breakdown, you pick your task, put an estimation, and start coding, and the next morning you join this meeting, and that's pretty much it. And every week or 2 weeks, we will have a review meeting, and then in the review meeting, we will talk about why everything failed, and then just move on. And I've seen teams that completely stop doing review meetings because they know review meetings are bad. They don't want to do review meetings. So, yeah, the Scrum loads are completely messed up. And then I think Scrum was originally designed to have a team who has commitment to this concept, who understand the concept, feels the concept, carries the concept within them, and the whole Scrum thing, the rugby Scrum thing coming in, it's all about commitment. It's all about being there together. The teams are not even like that. They're completely inexperienced. They have no training. They don't know anything about each other. They're just a group of people put in together, and there is no trust within the team. And maybe they have been working on different projects. Even like a Scrum team takes time to mature, even to have a certain velocity calculation and everything. You need to give them time. We are just bringing in people from different places and putting them together and telling them a Scrum thing and asking them to deliver good software, like out of what? Thin air. So this entire self-organization, taking responsibility, people are scared in teams, I have seen. They're really scared. They feel that they'll be judged by others. And then there is the senior dinosaur guys in the team. You know, like in the industry for like me, left 25, 20 years, and being the guy in the team seems like he knows everything and has seen all and done all and hasn't learned anything in the last 15 years. So that dinosaur guy is running the show. I think I need to be closer here. Yeah. And then estimation. You need to estimate. We threw out t-shirt sizing out of the window long ago. We need hours. We cannot directly say hours, so sometimes we say, okay, let's put on points. Each point is 4 hours of work. Because still there is some dignity, I guess, I would say, that we still don't say hours. I don't know, some of the teams even say hours, I don't know. So we need estimation. We need estimation for everything. And we need to break down stories into tasks and tasks into subtasks. And for each of the subtasks, we have decided no subtask can be more than 4 hours. That is the granularly you have to be able to break it down to. And nobody would, if you want to have any wiggle room or if you want to have any kind of uncertainty this in the time estimation, the team would be furious. The product manager would try to hunt you down. Because they need estimation when this is going to get delivered. Exact timing, total time effort. We have, in many organizations, we have hour logs. What have you done 8 hours today? For each hour, you have to report it. And then you have to put the Jira ticket number against your hours. Now, this is reality. This is happening. Do you think I'm making these things up? Any of you, have you ever experienced any of these, the things I'm talking, this estimation dilemma that you're having? And then the QA guys, I don't know what they even do anymore. They're completely lost. Have you seen any of your, anybody show me one burn down chart that ever went down? Never goes down. It always stays up, and then at the end of the sprint, it goes down like this. And sometimes not even to the very bottom, because everything gets spilled over to the next sprint. And the QA guys has nothing to do for the first 8 days of the sprint, and the last 2 days they got all the deliveries, and now they have to test it and deliver, and they can't deliver it because they cannot test it, and there is no way anybody would give them anything to test, because even if it is done, it is not deployed, it is not available to test. So this is a complete violation of definition of done and how you work with a story and get it tested within the sprint. I have seen teams decide that they will not test anything done in this sprint within the same sprint. All the stories will be carried over to the next sprint and the testing will be done there. Any of you did this? Yeah. And then stories getting spilled over from one sprint to another sprint to another sprint. And then for many sprints, nobody is actually looking how this is affecting my release deadline, release timeline. So things are getting spilled over, and magically everybody is expecting that somehow it will be done before the sprint release, but it doesn't. That's why none of our software ever gets released on time, ever. Who delivered one software on the very first declared date in last 1 year? One software, one lady. One lady? Okay, that's good. That's magic, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll just go faster because, and then, this may sound unreal. I assume half of the companies in Dhaka, they do not have CICD pipelines. How many percentage you think? Like more than 50%? How many? You raise your hands, you think more than 50%? So there is no CICD, there is no delivery mechanism. You cannot deliver software. What we are talking about then? Why all this fuss is about? And then this long grooming, different ceremonies of Scrum, product demo, defensive behavior. Very defensive at the product demo. Daily stand-ups become what have you done? Nobody even asks these 3 questions anymore. That is gone. So my understanding is that Scrum did not help. If we try to put Scrum on top of such a project, it did not help. But did it help in other cases, like short projects? Short projects, many of the companies in Dhaka, a lot of them, there are small companies, up to 50 people company, even larger companies, they do projects that last 3 to 6 months. And they also try to do Scrum. And when you try to do Scrum as a short project, nothing actually works because you don't have any time to do anything. Scrum is a big overhead. You just do a team construction, start doing things. It's completely artificial ceremonies and like any of the thing. Scrum would never work for a project that is like this short, and then it will be done, it will be gone. You will never see that customer again. Lot of the projects are like that. It will come in, you will do the project, it's gone. But then we are still trying to do Scrum. So no, Scrum doesn't help here as well. What about CRs, change request of an existing project that is already live in production? We have a lot of projects like that, right? A lot of companies have built software that is out there running in production. What happens? Random client requests continuously. How do you contain that within a Scrum framework? Because these changes are not related, not coherent. Difference here coming from these different business owners. Like sprints are collection of random tasks. There is no gluing. And then like there are different kind of necessity. Like some of the CRs are needed like yesterday. And then while doing this refactoring, unit testing, documentation, everything is skipped. Testing is not done. I mean, I don't want to read them all, but you understand what I'm trying to say here. So, yeah, I don't see Scrum helping here as well. So, I think we need to, I mean, see, the thing is that there is no silver lining to it. I have no solution to this entire problem statement today. So, I think that we should accept the reality and we should clearly able to state where Scrum works, very clearly say that, okay, these are the kind of organization you need to be use Scrum. These are the kind of projects you can do with Scrum. Make that very clear. And then rest of the people who are not within the definition, they should be able to find their own way of doing things. Don't advertise something. Let's not advertise something that we definitely know is not going to work for them. And then, I mean, it has become, I mean, it's a cult. It's a religion now. Everybody believes all their problems will be, I mean, it has been told over and over to this entire 2-day session, I guess. And then we are just convoluting ourselves by saying, you know, we need to change culture, we need to like have better teams. See, we are mediocre people, we have to understand that. We are mediocre people. Scrum was probably designed by very smart people sitting in Silicon Valley. And in Silicon Valley, they have 400K salaried developers, 800K salaried Scrum Masters. We are mediocre people working with mediocre talent, mediocre projects, mediocre clients. We are coming from a very mediocre society. And we cannot just take something that is designed by very brilliant people for doing very brilliant projects and just bring it in and start implementing it. It doesn't work for us. So, by saying that, I would like to conclude my session. It's I think it's a bit depressing at this point, but I will not conclude with any hope. I really don't know what to do. I really don't know what to go for. I will keep doing Scrum even after this talk. I'm not going anywhere from Scrum. I really don't know where to go. Okay, but then I just wanted you to know that, yeah, sometime you need at least to accept or acknowledge and recognize that it is what it is. So thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, one question. Sure.
Thank you, Topu, for lovely presentation. My name is Mansour. I work for Datasoft. I've been in the trade for a very, very, very long time. People who have seen the graduation process from SDLC to Scrum, from traditional CMM process to Scrum and others, they will be able to know how to fix it. And I'm one of those fortunate people to see both the era. I bought my first BMW in the problem which you just stated. If a project cannot be signed off by a customer, that's your opportunity. You as a customer, you as a company need to know how to squeeze that. If you don't know that, you cannot be in the trade, you'll never make money. So my 2 cents to the entire community is keep your documentation clean, keep all these customers sign off clean. If they come up with a BRD and a SRS, please elaborate it according to what suits your need and keep it as a master document. And whatever change requests they give, take all this document, keep a record. There is a change document that has come, re-estimate the project, realign your entire delivery, and keep sending them later that this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. About before the release of the project, then you tell them that these are the change requests which you gave from your assigned person, and this is the new estimation for the entire software. I can tell you, a $100,000 project, end of the project cycle, we could make $1.2 million. Similar thing, possible. You need to know how maturely you need to maneuver this. Second thing which I would really want to tell as a software developer, if you cannot distinguish that which is a classical SDLC project where my customer has given the entire requirement, very well documented. I don't need to go for Scrum on other thing. And cultural issue is also another big factor. There are some customers they're like ironclad. They have a 600-page requirement document, including how the forms would look like, how the entire data structure would look. They have given you everything. You don't need to reinvent anything. It's a standard, for example, a financial application where everything is given. You don't need to really reinvent anything there. So really don't need to go for Scrum and others. But anything which is innovative, which is require a lot of you to contemplation, you should always go for Scrum. Thank you, Topu, for lovely presentation.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Any questions I would like? Any question? Yeah. You can connect me here, given a QR code. Yeah.
Topu bhai, you are lucky enough at a sense that most of us can feel your emotions and sentiment right now. And hence, guys are currently investing to establish a coffee shop rather than establishing a software startup. You know that?
Yeah.
Besides those problems, did you notice that we often fall into technology trap? For an example, one of my previous companies migrated a large-scale enterprise product from Microsoft Visual Fox Pro to Microsoft WPF. But before delivering the newly migrated product into the clients, suddenly Microsoft announced that they will never support to WPF. Now, as a business owner of that product, what will he do? Will he invest further to migrate that desktop product to a product? And after 5 years, will he migrate that product into cloud? And after that, 5 years, will he invest that product for AI tools or something like this?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I mean, it depends from many different aspects. So, see, software has no intrinsic value. Software doesn't give you anything other than it helps you to make more money with your business. If your software does that, doesn't matter how bad your software is, really doesn't matter. It only matters what value it adds. So if the WPI application adds value to your organization, the migrated one, even though Microsoft stops supporting it, Does it? Because there are softwares running in COBOL for years, since like last 40 years. So, I mean, why would you change something? Changing any software into something else must add a massive value to your organization or business where you're using it. Until that, you have no other value in software. So that is the generic principle of building any software. The best software is that is never being built. That's the best software.
Okay, we'll take one last question. So, who is it? Yeah, sure.
Hi, Toby. It's really good to know all the complexity about developing a software and all the challenges you have been facing. So my question is, from your presentation, so far my understanding is it's really challenging thing to actually deliver to a customer when customers do not provide the actual requirements, when the requirements are vague, when developers or the development team is really scared about facing the customer, and then when the timelines are not met, and at the end, when the end product is delivered to customer, it doesn't satisfy their need, or they are not satisfied about the outcome of the software. And you also mentioned that more than 90% time, actually, the estimation was wrong. So considering all these complexities, as an entrepreneur and as a CTO of a big IT firm, how do you actually navigate through all these complexities, and how do you ensure profitability? Because end of the day, it's a business, and you have to be profitable to survive.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Good question. So the way I do it is by not developing software and still selling them. That is the only way to make money. You cannot never make money by developing a software and selling that software. You have to be able to see everything that you buy has a reproducibility. Same thing needs to be sold more and more times, right? So when a new TV technology is being built, the price of that TV technology is very high because they're taking the research and all those costs out of the money. But later the TV price goes down, right? But with software, for some reason, it was supposed to be, that is the whole product idea came from, right? So that you build a software product and then you don't have to invest into anymore. You can keep selling them a lot of money. So the first sale doesn't need to make a lot of money, but the next later sales will give you back to your investment, right? But here, in the way we build products of softwares here, that we in Bangladesh, they're very few. Mansour Bhai has a product, a banking solution, a lot of other different products. He's buying his BMW out of that. But most of the companies, we are service companies. We sell our hours and resources, and we build a product to the customers, give it to them, and that's the money we get. We don't never get more money out of that anymore, other than AMC and other stuff. So the way I decided to build my organization is that I built software components that is business agnostic. So lots and lots of business agnostic software components have a huge library that is very solid, used in many different products, and then you have a new project coming in, you just build a very little part that is different about that software and reuse the entire component base that you have. So you become very fast, you beat your competitors in time and also valuation, and you deliver a lot of value within a short time and make a lot of money. That's how I do it.
Thank you. Thank you.